A few videos ago, when I was diagnosing other problems, you may remember that there was a loud ticking sound coming from the engine bay. I thought it was an exhaust leak because you could hear it pretty loudly from inside the cabin, and there was several exhaust leaks that I found when I removed the complete exhaust system from the header's back. However, I am now thinking that it is actually rod knock. So this M30 might be toast pretty soon, and I had to weigh some options. Now, option one was keeping the motor, rebuilding it, and going from there. It's a very stout motor, but it's not a very fast motor. And I've always wanted to do a fun engine swap, and the E24 seemed like a really good chance to do that. So, started looking around at possible swaps for this platform, and I ran across the M62 motor, and I was like, well, I could do that. So I was like, let's peruse eBay and like LKQ and just see what kind of junkyard motor we can get and how much that actually costs. So thought about getting a junkyard motor, but instead we bought a whole junkyard car. This attractive heap is a 2000 540i with 240,000 miles. What caught our eye upon looking at this was obviously not the condition of the body, but all the different little accessories that were on it. This has a full AC Schnitzer body kit and 19-inch AC Schnitzer Type 3 wheels, which are all in great shape, albeit very dirty. So the hope is that with cleaning them up and selling them, plus the body panels, we can probably recoup the entire cost of this car and then still be able to keep the motor and drivetrain to swap into the E24. But let me give you a walk around on this. So it's a clean title car, but it is in really rough shape. The paint is absolutely toast, and I guess the previous owner tried to cover that up with Plastidip, but they didn't put it on thick enough, so this is really thin layers. This should peel off way easier than that, and it looks like they just didn't go heavy enough with their layers or do enough of them. So this is probably the thickest part, and it's still not great. So it looks like they dipped it twice maybe, or maybe this is the undercoat, but yeah, it was gray, then blue, but the factory color is black. I think these are aftermarket mirrors, I'm not sure, I don't even know what kind they are. But the body kit itself is in pretty decent shape. Like the rocker panels are all intact, and I can probably polish these up once we get the dip off. The bumper is in a little bit rougher shape. It's taken a couple hits and they tried to fix it themselves and didn't do a very good job. So might take that to someone and see if it's salvageable, or just sell it as is and see if somebody wants it like that. This fender was actually washed and looks okay, but the clear coat is coming off, so it's not really able to be saved at this point. So I'm considering the body to just be a rolling chassis that we'll let someone else have. This is not a Borla exhaust, it's just a Borla tip, and the rest of it is just straight piped right up to the header. And it has a rare ACS wing, so I'm happy to get the dip off of that and see what it looks like underneath. It did have structural damage on the Carfax, and I'm assuming it's related to this very piss poor repair job. You can just, it's flaking off, looks like you can see right through the bare metal through that crack. It's not a very good job. All right, so I want to take a look at the interior. Came with 2 keys and only one of them actually works, so, oh, got the right one on the first try. Nope, I just locked it. Okay, home button unlocks it. The door cards are in okay shape. Everything else is not. The seats are trashed and torn and they are hard as rocks. If you can zoom in on this leather, just look how hard and cracked that is. Like, that's, you can't even make it go straight. It's just completely screwed. Center console would need recovered, but yeah, the steering wheel's hopeless. The buttons are completely worn off. The back seat, every single time you touch it, something new cracks just because it's so hard. This was a Tampa car its entire life, and I'm assuming it was outdoors for most of that, or all of it. So yeah, interior's nothing special. So with 240,000 miles on it, I wasn't expecting great things opening the hood, and that's good because there's really nothing great about it. On this side, this valve cover is obviously leaking. There's a ton of oil everywhere, so it's hard to tell exactly where it's coming from, but I'm assuming we have a power steering system leak. It looks like we have a leak from the oil filter housing, which isn't actually connected to anything, which is good. There's a Dinan intake, so there you go. That's the good thing. That's the shiny turd in this punch bowl. So definitely leaks around here. I don't even know what's going on here. All right. It doesn't smell great either, and you can see a pretty significant oil leak down here, and you'll really be able to see it here when I start the motor. So on the plus side, it sounds good. It sounds pretty mean. On the downside, there is a very, very significant vacuum leak. So that is the oil leak. That's coming from a timing chain tensioner. And then I'm assuming there's a leak from the brake booster, because if you get in the car and you want to hit the brakes, your foot is going straight down. Actually, it's not too bad right now. But when it was moving, man, it just went straight down. And let's give... This is with the car in gear. No, actually, it's reversed. That's in gear. You can do full figure eights with it in gear. It's impressive. All right, I'm going to turn it off before we gas out the neighbors. We had a lot of smoke coming out after only about a minute of running, so we were investigating to try and see where the smoke was coming from. And there you have it. The oil's just dripping straight onto the headers, so that tells me all I need to know, and that I am never ever going to run this car again in its current state. So there's a lot of metallic confetti in here. Possibly water pump, head gaskets, or maybe all of the above. Very shiny. As we drained the coolant, it came out brown and oily, and we played around in the reservoir a bit and found chunks, so we decided to investigate with the help of a saw, and the findings were frightening. Our initial thought was that there were little chunks of a shop towel that someone had left in the reservoir somehow, or I'm not really sure, but as we dug further and I came closer and closer to getting nauseous, we came to a different conclusion. That's disgusting.
I don't even know what it is.
I don't either. Holy crap. Oh, that's so gross. I'm pretty sure I've had better nightmares than this. Car work has never made me want to vomit before today. Is that metallic flake?
You know, I think it is.
Huh.
Radiator stop leak.
I was right.
So I think they put a new radiator in it after they put radiator stop leak in it and never replaced this. So they had a leaky coolant system.
All right, so now that we've done a bit of exploration on the 540i and determined that it's mostly just straight up trash, I think the next step is we're gonna pull the motor and see if that's really the option I wanna go with, if I still wanna go for the motor swap route on the E24. But as for the E39, it was a one-owner car, and I do have to respect the fact that the original owner bought it and then just kind of drove it into the ground, 250,000 miles with the bare minimum amount of maintenance. It's not impressive for me because I'm a little snobby about these kinds of things, but the fact that it was still running a couple months ago with such significant leaks is incredible. I can't believe it was still being driven around. But anyway, the reason we got that car in the first place was because it was a bit of a hidden gem in all the parts that were on it. So it had AC Schnitzer wheels, ACS body kit. It actually had a lot of Dinan parts we didn't know it actually had. It had Dinan springs, Dinan sway bars, the Dinan throttle body, which was pretty cool to find, and the Dinan intake, and also a Dinan tune. So it did have a lot of good things about it. But then we found a lot of bad things about it. So, when we were just draining the coolant was brown. You could tell it had oil in it. So head gaskets are blown. Those are going to need to be replaced. And then looking inside the coolant reservoir and finding on the metallic flake, pulling it apart only to realize that someone had poured an entire bottle of stop leak in there at one point. It's going to need a lot of work to get it back up to our own standards for a motor of this caliber. So in the next video, we're going to be pulling the motor and, we'll see what happens. Will the motor pull succeed? Will it not succeed? Nobody really knows. Hey. So will the motor succeed? I don't know. Just watch the next video. I guess you know now.